Inside the NBA host Ernie Johnson is the best example of how to build great team chemistry in the world of sports media. For 33 years and counting, Ernie's been the glue to the most awarded studio show. And it's because of his leadership that his teammates have loved going to work with him for more than 2 decades, while other shows have broken up due to turmoil and conflict. But in this week's edition of the Soft Skills Spotlight, what can you take from Ernie's leadership to make your own team a great place to work? Let's see if you can spot this first clue in this classic segment.
And the opportunity to quiz Sir Charles on who went where in the off-season. It's time once again for our annual installment of television's most grammatically incorrect show, Who He Play For?
This classic mini game show has gone on for now more than 20 years, where Ernie quizzes Charles on which teams these lesser-known players play for. And it's hilarious because of moments like these.
Who does Aaron Brooks play for?
He's either playing in China or Japan.
China or Japan. We need to
That's
be
not the name of the
more
team.
specific.
Guangdong Tigers. Ni hao! Ni hao! Ni hao! Victory lap!
Who He Play For works so well because it's a team ritual, an event with a consistent cadence where people know exactly which role to play. Everyone knows that Charles is the jokester who loves to laugh at himself. Everyone knows Shaq loves playful competition and being in the spotlight. And everyone knows Kenny's the instigator in the background. And it's Ernie who's engineering the magic behind the scenes to set this up. This is very similar to what Golden State Warriors head coach Steve Kerr says about his team.
You can foster it through humor. We play music a lot during our warm-ups, and it's amazing. You can see the bounce to their step when we turn the music on. And we try to mix it up. If it's somebody's birthday, we play their playlist, or the assistant coach, it's his birthday. Then they get to mock that choice of music. We had White Guy Wednesday last week.
I like to call this planned spontaneity. Regularly scheduled events with guidelines for people to get creative in between the lines. And in business, it's the same thing. You can't rely solely on annual expensive retreats. You also need to arrange regularly scheduled activities or rituals that don't cost you anything. Perhaps it's a daily stand-up meeting with your team each morning for 15 minutes where you agree to never talk about anything related to work. Or have fun with it with something like Finger Lickin' Fridays, where each month the team goes to a new fried chicken spot. But oftentimes, where Ernie's magic truly lies as a leader is how he handles moments that go completely off script. See if you can spot what he does when this promo for a 2015 game between the Bucks and the Lakers goes completely off the rails.
Just $6.99. Watch the LA Lakers take on the Milwaukee Bucks tomorrow night on your computer, tablet, phone, I dare you, or connected.
When Ernie hears Charles say, "Man," Ernie knows that Charles is itching to just roast these underperforming teams, which is why Ernie eggs him on. This is a great example of what I call playing to pressure points. What are the things that you know in advance are gonna get your teams to react? Or they open up, they make a joke, they share their love for something. So as soon as Ernie grants Charles the green light, watch what happens next.
That should be more like $1.99.
Really?
If y'all pay $6.99 for that, y'all get bamboozled.
It's so hilarious that Ernie can't help but pile on.
I can think of a lot of things I can do for $6.99.
$6.99.
Don't include the Lakers or the Bucks.
But what's especially great is Ernie's ability to do this with literally anyone on the show. Watch Ernie's setup as he props up Dominique Wilkins and Charles Barkley for their 50-point playoff performances.
56 against Golden State. Dominique, 50 against Detroit.
And then he does this to Shaq.
How many 50-point playoff games did you have?
I must at least say one.
No, you didn't. And now we can go to...
Ernie knows that Shaq takes great pride as a top 10 player of all time, and therefore he knows that Shaq's going to assume he's had at least one 50-point game. This is an example of what I call the playful rib, where you poke fun at someone knowing they can't get mad because your dig is really not that serious. And even if Shaq doesn't like the joke, Ernie's still gonna do it because he knows just how much Charles will love it. Again, he's playing to both Shaq and Charles's pressure points. But this type of playful ribbing culture is only possible because of what Ernie says right here.
You know why it's work? Because nobody tries to make themselves the show. Because they've never tried to make the show about themselves. And I'm in the fortunate position, getting us from point A to point B to point C, with 3 guys who have been in every conceivable situation in a basketball game.
That is practicing humility. Leadership is not about being in the spotlight. It's about elevating your teammates to share the spotlight. And this mindset all comes from respecting your teammates. And specifically, it's important to remind yourself every day of why you're grateful for each of your teammates. Because when you do this, they'll respect you back. And to ensure that no one individual is above the others, you need to be able to do this.
Great baseball player, he was a Marine, and you just lowly Ernie Johnson, TV personality.
And you know, look, he set the bar very high, and I just try to get closer to it every day.
Well, you can't you need to jump higher, bro.
I know I do.
Here, Chuck's making fun of Ernie for his days as a mediocre baseball player. So watch what Ernie does in response.
I'll even take BS like that from you with a smile on my face.
Oh, Ernie almost cussed you out. That was it. That's a cuss.
About that close.
Ernie does two things here. The first is he's smiling as he's speaking. When you smile, you're implicitly inviting others to smile alongside you because we're hardwired to reciprocate others' emotions. This sets the tone for the second thing, which is the clap back. This is a great way of spreading the love or the jokes such that everyone has the opportunity to get ribbed. And this is important because when you all can laugh at each other, you've all gained each other's respect. But at the same time, there are still lines that you shouldn't cross. And the best leaders know exactly where to draw those lines. Listen to Kenny tell this story of how Charles played a prank on Ernie related to Ernie's notes preparing for the show.
So Charles takes it and he rips it up, right?
He was mad.
That wasn't funny.
And while they all can laugh about it now, Ernie said something that immediately asserted his authority.
Because you know what that did to me in that moment? It was that these guys don't respect what I do.
The key is you need to call out the disrespect. Whenever this happens, even if it's unintentional, you need to have the courage to say something back. And this all comes from Ernie's own sense of self-respect. Specifically, instead of just retaliating back, you need to call out why something is hurtful to you. And when you explain the why, that's when you'll immediately gain your teammates' respect.
Now I think we appreciate him a lot more for all the hard work he put in. We have no idea what segments are. I mean, he is so prepared for all that stuff. He makes it fun to come to work.
Now, while Ernie is the glue that keeps this band together, Charles Barkley is the poster boy for inside the NBA. And because of these go-to jokes, it's helped him get a $200 million contract with Turner Sports. Check out what you can steal from Charles right here.